Hi there. If you're just finding me, I'm Dr. Karen Curitan, a naturopathic physician, acupuncturist, and passionate neural retraining expert. And in this video, I'm going to share with you my professional journey and how I came to be a neural retraining practitioner. So, my path to becoming a neuroplasticity practitioner and coach started in my early 20s with the sudden onset of my own chronic illness, which started during a period of intense stress and a few emotional traumas that occurred at that time. Since I got absolutely no answers or help from the conventional medical community, I turned to naturopathic medicine next to get answers and find a path to healing. And this was the first path to healing that provided me some answers and symptom improvement. And I was so grateful for the first naturopathic physician I met and her unconventional medical knowledge and tool set that helped me get my life back, so much so that I could then go to medical school. Through that experience, I recognized that if I fell through the cracks of the conventional medical system, then so were millions of other people. And it was from that realization that I decided it was my calling to be a part of the change to the medical paradigm that needed to happen. A change from subpar diagnostics and band-aid solutions to true healing for everyone. So I decided to become a naturopathic physician and acupuncturist as well in order to try to provide that to other people. And after getting those degrees, I then took on countless hours of postgraduate training to dive deeper into the root causes of chronic illness and try to be the best practitioner that I could be for my patients. So I studied topics including chronic infections, environmental toxicity, genetics and epigenetics, nutritional deficiencies, immune system imbalances that cause allergies, sensitivities, and autoimmunity, among many other things that really we don't get a deep enough education in our schooling. So over the years of treating hundreds of patients with chronic illness, it became clear that many of them had histories of trauma or intense chronic stress, either in their past or present. And often the traumas and intense chronic stress directly preceded the onset of their illness, just like it did for me. And most of these patients also clearly still had dysregulated nervous systems, i.e., they were in fight, flight, or freeze most of the time. And on top of that, it was clear that most had also developed mental and emotional patterning around their illness that was only perpetuating their nervous system dysregulation and therefore their health issues. So when I was first introduced to the profound healing that could take place in those with chronic illness through neural retraining, it made perfect sense to me. So after that, I dove deep into the research about the use of neuroplasticity and mind-body therapies for healing the physical body. And I learned about how trauma and a chronic stress response derange basically all of the key bodily systems that my patients and I had struggled with: digestion, detoxification, the immune system, the brain, the cardiac system, the urinary system, the reproductive system, and the endocrine system, to name just a few. And it made perfect sense to me that if these patients remained in a chronic stress state, that those bodily systems would continue to be dysfunctional and patients would continue to need supplements or medications to basically prop up their functioning. And that was absolutely true. For many of my patients and myself, the physical stressors were not the only reason our bodies were malfunctioning. As I started to help my patients rebalance their dysregulated stress response systems, their symptoms of all kinds all over their bodies started to improve or even resolve. And I had the same experience with my own body. It was truly amazing to witness the proof in myself and in others of how profound the impact of the limbic system and autonomic nervous system are over every aspect of our physiology. After witnessing my own results from neural retraining and that of so many of my patients, I was hooked. I knew this was the missing piece of the puzzle for millions of people suffering with health issues. And this information needed to reach the masses. But not just any neural retraining information. When I started my neural retraining journey, I tried every method and approach that was out there, and I tried it on myself. Many of them simply didn't produce results for me. And on top of that, I didn't like doing some of the recommended practices. What I discovered is that using the types of neural retraining practices that just have you practice calming your nervous system and feeling good in the present moment is like fighting with your subconscious that has stored all kinds of information about why you should not relax and feel safe. Approaching neural retraining in that way is an uphill battle. It's like swimming upstream. It's so much more difficult than it has to be because the subconscious mind is much more powerful than your conscious mind. So eventually, I found neural retraining approaches that allowed me to actually rewire my own traumas, as well as other experiences that had programmed my nervous system to be on high alert. I was also able to use these practices to rewire many very stressful and limiting belief systems. And once I did that work, then wiring in a new default of feeling safe and good was easy, and the internal resistance was gone. And trust me, I had previously tried many other approaches to rewiring my past and belief systems that were out there, like EMDR, talk therapy, CBT, somatic approaches, shamanic work, and even psychedelic therapy. Some of these were beneficial to me, but none of them rewired the traumas from my past such that they stopped producing trauma reactions in me in the present. And none of them helped me truly rewire my stress patterning so that it stopped playing on a loop in my life. And I see this in my clients constantly. Most of them come to me after having tried many other approaches to improving their mental and emotional health without the results they were hoping for. And then they are amazed to find how free and regulated they become with the approach that I use. So on top of all that I was able to use neural retraining for in myself, I was also able to radically transform my life with the use of these tools. There were so many changes I had wanted in my life before discovering these techniques, but they just didn't happen for a couple reasons. One was because of my own internal resistance to making those changes, which for me most often came up in the form of fear. Number two was because of my limiting beliefs about what was possible for me and my life. And, those came from my earlier life experiences and what my parents and other people close to me thought was possible. Number three was because I had some very strong stress patterns that kept repeating themselves and sabotaging my goals. For example, my overachieving and people-pleasing patterns that caused me to overwork, dissociate from my emotions and body, feel afraid to be my authentic self, and put other people's needs and desires above my own. So as I chipped away at rewiring the neurological roots of these issues, my conditioning in the forms of memories, belief systems, negative emotional associations, etc., I felt freer and freer to follow my own internal compass, to create my life in a form that I truly love. And that is what I have done. As a result of this work, I have changed my career dramatically, and I'm absolutely in love with what I do and my business partnership. I have massively improved the health of my marriage. I have moved to a beautiful location that I adore, and I have created self-care habits that have hugely improved the stability of my well-being. And that is why I am so passionate about the work that I do and sharing this approach with anyone who will listen, because it's like nothing else I know of in terms of the results it produces. And it's not mainstream enough yet. Even within the realm of the progressive, naturopathic, and functional medicine paradigms, this key piece of the healing puzzle is still not being emphasized enough. And that is tragic because stress and trauma-based illnesses are at this point a pandemic and getting more severe and more rampant every year. So it is my intention to change that and get this knowledge out to as many people as possible. Healthcare practitioners, those suffering from chronic illness, and anyone else, so that together we can live healthier and more empowered lives, feel safe to be our true selves, and create the life of our dreams. So, no matter what issues you're dealing with, whether they be in your mind, body, or life, changing the mental and emotional programming that led you there can lead you out of it. So, this was my professional journey. This is why I do what I do. And I hope that you choose to join me on this journey to discover what is possible for you through neural retraining. Because from my experience, what I've seen in clients as well, you're going to be shocked. You're going to be surprised at what can truly transform. All right. Thank you so much for listening.